Mr. Hart, how are you doing? You got a new house recently. Tell the audience what happened.
Yeah, life never is. It's always changing. It's never steady. Yeah. So we got a new house. We really lucked out. We found a place in Milwaukee, of all places, that was just a dream home for me and my wife. So we're freaking pumped, but we're busy now because we're moving into that one, and then we go to Colorado in 3 weeks.
Dude, beautiful time of year to go to Colorado too.
Oh my, I can't wait. We're really happy with what we've done here in Milwaukee, but I can't wait to get back to Colorado.
Yeah, I believe it, man. Well, I'm sitting here and still in Florida, looking at the Gulf of Mexico right now. We just went fishing last weekend. It's so nice. But we're heading up to PA pretty soon here and gonna hang out with the goats and the cows.
It's hurricane season down there right now, right?
It is, yeah, June to October.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel it, like as soon as it's hurricane season, every day there's like a mild hurricane. It's funny, like every day there's like some stretch of the skyline that looks like it's destroying buildings, and then it goes away in like 30 minutes. It's like dark and ominous and lightning, and then it goes away.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we have an exciting pod today because Jay Kami's jumping on, and he's this like toy sensation that's gone viral so many times, been on the news, been on like The View, been on the Hannity show. I mean, this guy's got a quite exciting story to tell. So I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Jay, to be honest with you. Like, you and I have talked about him, and he's getting the podcast set up. So I know very little, but I know enough to be extremely curious about how he's built his business, because what you shared with me and just like the little bits that I do know, it's Hollywood level.
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary. But I think that we can also take I want to make sure that we talk about some of the downsides to it as well, because he's had some crazy ups that most people won't relate to, because he's had some viral moments. But I think we also need to ask him, like, what hasn't gone so well for you? Because everyone goes through those ups and downs. So without further ado, I think we should jump in and talk to Jay.
Let's do it.
Jay, Mr. Amazon extraordinaire here. Tell us your Amazon beginnings. How did you get into the e-commerce world? When was it? Just fast forward through from, what you did before into the Amazon space. I'm really curious about where you came from here.
Sure. I actually started as a New York City street vendor in the 80s. So I sold for 10, 15 years on the sidewalks. Weird toys. I'm a big toy guy. I love making people laugh and smile. And I actually sold a hand that moved around by itself. It was a battery operated hand. Actually, I'll show it to you, because if you don't see it, you won't believe it. Anyway, so this was the hand I sold for years.
Oh my God, that looks like Frankenstein's hand or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very handy gift, so people like them.
Nice.
Don't get me started. It'll get out of hand. So we have this hand.
I'll be here all night.
We will be. This is a battery operated thing here. So I would sell them, and from the hand, I did it 7 years, like every day, 7 days a week. I sold hands day and night. And it got me to a point where I realized that I love toys and I love making people smile and laugh. And I evolved eventually into wholesale. So I started creating my own stuff. And I ended up in small stores and then in bigger stores. I created this thing called the Hungry Raccoon in the Bag back in 1995. And it was a raccoon that kind of crawled around, and there was a tail that came out of a potato chip bag, and it wiggled around, and there was an off-centered motor in the potato chip bag, so it moved around. And that was the first thing I ever created, and I sold it into smaller gift stores. And from there, I went to bigger gift stores, and eventually I started making more stuff, and I ended up wholesaling, $10 million a year to Walmart, Target, 7-Eleven, Walgreens, any major mass chain. And I did that until 2015, which is when I went basically bankrupt. I lost everything. My business failed. I closed my warehouse down. I was 55 years old. No money, no 401k, no savings, literally nothing. And I owed $1 million.
Wow, to make matters worse.
Exactly. So that's where I was before e-commerce.
And you went from basically practically destitute, but with all this knowledge and enthusiasm, obviously, that you're taking in. And how did you go Oh, I'm going to do Amazon. Did you do a course? Did a friend tell you to do it?
I did the amazing course, amazing selling machine. Are you familiar with that?
Very. And a lot of people on the pod have said the same thing, which is crazy.
It just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, did you guys do any Amazon course? Was it, or did you just, were you self-taught?
Yeah, me self-taught, Drew, right? Inner Circle or self-taught?
Mastermind group, you know, had a lot of had a community to tap into, but self-taught. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I never could have figured this stuff out by myself. So hats off to both of you. So that's where I was. I was destitute, but you're right, Ian. I had this wealth of experience in going to China, creating my own products, bringing stuff back. And the thing that Amazing Selling Machine teaches you, the number one rule is you look for products that are already doing well, and then you private label them and market them better than your competition.
Sure.
And you're never supposed to make your own product. So what do you think I did?
You made your own product.
Exactly. And I was like, I took credit card. There was still a little bit left on the credit card, and I still had some relationships with a factory, and I still knew a few toy distributors. And I at the end of 2015, you know the saying, money follows attention?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought, who is getting all the attention at the end of 2015? That's a kind of a pop quiz for you guys.
Trump.
Exactly.
Coming down the escalator, obviously.
You perfect.
He took over 2015.
Right. He sucked all the air out of the room for everybody else.
Yes, that's right.
And the prevailing logic was there was 15 people in the Republican primaries, and Bush was there, and all these much more well-known people who were expected to get the nomination. Trump was not expected to get that nomination.
Yeah, Ted Cruz, Rubio. I remember. Yeah.
All the guys.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to do something with Trump. I have to like capture that attention. So starting October 31st, 2015, and I remember it was October 31st is when I started this, because I was actually so broke that I turned the lights off in my house, which I was renting. It was a little two-story thing on Fort Harrison. So you probably know where it is.
Yeah.
And there were trick-or-treaters outside, and I turned the lights off so that they wouldn't knock on my door, because I couldn't afford to buy candy.
Oh my God.
That's how bad it was. And at that moment I went, something has to change. Turn the TV on, there's Trump. And I thought, I'm going to do something with him. I'll make something really great. The Republicans will love it. The Democrats will love it. And I'll become a millionaire.
Okay, I love it.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
And I started October, like early November, started designing something. And by May of 2016, and by the way, you have to understand, everybody was saying, Jay, why are you doing Trump? He's not going to get the nomination. He's a fly-by-night. You're taking what little money you can scrape up, and you're doing it in a candidate that's going to be out of the race.
Yeah.
And I did it anyway.
I didn't believe he was going to win either.
I don't think anybody did, right?
Except for him.
Except for him.
I literally remember waking up and seeing Trump triumphs on the top of the New York Times and going, holy shit.
Yeah, I know.
I also remember seeing that Hillary Clinton had this huge what to do to celebrate, her winning the election. Nobody's there.
Trump, oh my God, I remember that.
Trump was like at the bottom of the basement of a hotel, and he's like, shit, I just won.
Right.
So what did you come out? What was the Trump product?
Well, in 2016 of May, from October or early November to May, so it's a bunch of months, I came out with the Donald Trump talking pen. And you press his head, and I don't know if you can hear this, but let's see. The greatest president that God ever created. You heard it? Yeah. And the first thing I say to people is, this is not a pro-Trump. This is not an anti-Trump. If you look here, it says laugh with or at Trump.
Yes.
So I wanted to market it to.
Very smart.
Yeah, I wanted people to smile. I didn't want to get political and enforce my viewpoints. So the lines on here are nice. They're funny. If you like Trump, you like the pen. If you don't, you won't. So I started sending this pen out to Facebook groups, to putting things on Twitter. I started doing YouTube stuff. I sent it to every TV station I could think of. And my target was Sean Hannity and The View. I said, biggest one on the right is Sean Hannity. Biggest one on the left is probably The View. If I can get it, if I get it to both of them and they both play it, I'll be in the money. Sean Hannity actually sent the box back to me, unopened, returned to sender. I don't think he ever saw the box. It just was like sent back to me. No one gave me any play on this. Nobody wanted it. And I went to one of my old toy friends who sold in all the toy fairs in America, in Dallas and New York, and he went to Hong Kong, Germany. And he said, Jay, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to put this pen out at every single toy fair in America. I'll give you a prominent display. We will reach every toy buyer. I think you're going to do well. It's okay. So he's promoting it and I'm promoting it. And come October, middle of October 2016, and this is now a whole year in development with basically no sales.
And it's Trump versus Hillary right at the end.
You got it.
Yeah.
And I get a call from him middle of October. He says, Jay, I want to give you the results of our sales at all these trade shows. I go, what is it? He goes, oh, it's amazing. You're not going to believe this. I go, what? And I had given him 20,000 pens on consignment. He says, I've shown this pen to almost every store you can think of, and they all hate it. What? He said, yeah, they want to know who the idiot is who made this pen. And I go, all right, so what does this mean with the 20,000 pens you have of mine? He said, well, I'm going to give them all back. I said, well, how about I just sell them to you at my cost, $2 each, just so I can pay the rent? And he goes, no. I go, how about $1 each? I'll give you all, take them for $1 each. And he goes, even if you paid me, I wouldn't take this pen.
Wow.
And that was a very low moment for me, because that was like, you have your shot, you're going for it, you have one last burst of energy, and you just summon it up from somewhere, and he just shot it all down. So 2 weeks later, I'm walking my dog, feeling miserable, and my son-in-law calls me up. He's living with me, my son-in-law and my daughter. They're all living in my house because nobody has any money. Nobody has a place to stay. And he calls me up. He says, Jay, are you near TV right now? I go, no, what's happening? He goes, oh my God, Sean Hannity is playing your pen on TV. I'm going, what? So I race back home, and Sean Hannity's holding up this pen and playing it the entire show, talking about how much he loves it. So at the end of the show, he goes, I don't know who made this pen, but my phone is blowing up. Who made this pen? And I'm yelling at the TV, I did, the idiot. I raced downstairs to my computer to see if I sold it on Amazon, because maybe I sold it.
So you had it on Amazon by that point. So you decided to list them.
Yeah, but nobody knows to search for a Donald Trump talking pen. They would have to even know how to search for that, right?
Super niche.
My family bought a few, but nobody else did. And that night we sold $10,000 worth of these pens at, I think it was $12.95. I'm going, wow. So I raised the price to $14.95. And the next day we sold, I think it was $55,000 worth of these pens.
Oh my God.
The third day I'm at $19.95, and we sold $164,000 of these pens. Then a few days later, I get more calls. Jay, The View has your pen on TV right now. So The View is playing this pen on their show. And I have video of all this. I have pictures and videos, because nobody believes the story when I tell them. So then the sales shot up even more. People started selling them on eBay. Again, screenshots for $1,000 each, because you couldn't get them. By the end of a month, I mean, within the first week, we had sold, I think we were at #1 in toys and games. From an unknown product to #1 toy in toys and games. And I think in a month we had done almost $1 million in sales for this pen. And that effectively took me out of poverty and got me back on my feet again, and created a brand new business. So that's my,
oh my God,
introduction to e-com.
Wow. It sounds like the story of, like, the garage band that, somehow gets an obscure song produced on a B-side of an LP, and then Elton John hears it and says, hey, you should listen to this guy. Now they're selling out stadiums. It's just kind of one of those feel-good stories.
Yeah,
it is absolutely.
I hear your story, Jay. You got the 80s, you got the street stand, you got this I enjoy, entertaining people. You create the products, you get success. Boom, you lose it all.
Right.
You bet on Trump of all things.
Yeah.
You bet on the plays. You got the toy distribution, the trade shows, and then Hannity starts putting the pen out there, and boom, like it's such a turnaround story. This Hollywood level, it's like it really is. It's very, very, very cool.
It's a very, very cool story, and it's something that I'm glad it worked out like that, because when I tell young entrepreneurs or people, like I give a lot of talks to the African American community, the minority community, and because a lot of their failure comes from not believing in themselves. They believe it can't happen. They get programmed all day long, even with their own inner critic, that they can never make it. So I feel like, it was good. I was 55. I was completely broke. It wasn't that I inherited my money. I actually made it with a very improbable like you said, Drew, feel good story, and that it encourages people. So I'm glad I hit rock bottom, and I'm glad I was able to turn it around, simply because it can inspire others.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So then how did you get from the novelty item, which could have been a one-hit wonder for you, Jay, and it could have just been the end of the story? How did you get from that to what you have now, which is a thriving Amazon business?
Yeah, we're closing in on $10 million a year. So get to that 8-figure seller, all with my own products. Well, from that point, I said, my philosophy about creating is, people go, oh, you create your own products. I can never do that. And my viewpoint on creation is that all creation is like very simple. You take two old products and you combine them into one new product. That's all it is. Find two separate concepts. They could be old, but when you put them together, they become new. So I'm like, greeting cards. Everybody loves greeting cards. And why not do a Donald Trump talking greeting card for birthday?
Yeah.
So I did. And, I don't know if you can hear this, but sound's not working. But anyway, this card ended up on the Rush Limbaugh show.
Oh my God, lightning in a bottle again?
I'm like, oh my God. And then that exploded. So I continue to spin off on this theme, because why wouldn't I, right? Like, why wouldn't I keep doing Trump stuff? I made this Donald Trump figure, and if you can see it.
Oh, he's holding a flag.
He's holding a
He's
flag.
hugging the flag.
He's hugging the flag, and
yes, together we will make America great again.
Says 17 different lines. Made this. This was a very expensive thing to make. It had to be sculpted, and Donald Trump Jr. ended up posting it on his Instagram page, and he put the Trump figure on top of his Christmas tree and said, I couldn't decide whether to get a star or an angel for Christmas, so I got both. And he has my figure on top of his tree, and then that exploded. So
how much did that retail for, that sculpture?
It was $24.95.
Okay.
And we got it up to $29.95 and then $34.95. And we just kept raising the price because it was so in demand.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of like taking that one-hit wonder, like you said, Ian, and then spinning it off into other things, as well as trying new stuff that I thought, well, you know what? Being in wholesale. Have you done wholesale, Ian, before?
I had done wholesale, but I was in electronics wholesale, but I was in wholesale for years. Yeah.
Okay. So it's really category buyers determine everything.
Yeah.
And
100%.
if one buyer says no, you're screwed. So I'm like making my toys for these buyers as opposed to the end public, for the users. And I kind of like lost my motivation, lost my creativity, because I'm not doing what's really in my heart. I'm doing what I think they're going to like. So now I'm like, I'm free. I'm going, okay, great. No one's going to tell me what to do anymore. So I came out with some crazy, crazy stuff beyond political things, and just kept expanding the brand.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, though, because I think, it's an awesome story, Jay. But there's like, if it wasn't for the, the uniqueness of Trump, to be that you were right there at the right time and on the Trump products.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people listen to that and be like, well, there's a lot of luck involved in this, and good luck, like awesome. But like on the other side of it, now you've got this, this winning formula, but it's not going to be sustainable, right? At some point, this will all come to a point where maybe you can't continue to capitalize on that momentum. What are you doing with the other side of the business?
You know, that's such a great question, because you tapped into what was going on in my mind, because a lot of people said that, oh, he got lucky. And I started doubting myself. I go, gee, did I get lucky? And I thought, could I do it again? Could I do it again? Will my formula for really finding something, taking two things, combining them, tapping into, looking for search terms on Amazon that people are tapping into and saying, how do I fill that niche or that gap with a new product? So I thought, let me do something. Don't laugh. I search termed poop emoji, and it was very popular. So I thought, what can I do with a poop emoji? So I took the talking pen idea, which again, anybody could have done this. I was the first kind of person to put an actual sculpted head on a pen. But once it was done, anybody could have done that. So I took a poop emoji and I put it on top of a pen. And it was a poop emoji farting pen. I don't know if you can hear the farts. But
We could.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Good. So I want to make sure, yeah. 7 farts. And that did great. It wasn't of the magnitude of a Trump pen, but it did great.
Sure.
So I thought, well, what else can I do? How about poop emoji plush? Same thing. And this, somebody picked it up, a golden retriever that had 2 million fans, and the owner picked it up and made it a pet toy, and it exploded. And for years, this has been a real staple for us. This pen, this farting poop emoji. So I started. It was okay. It was great, but it wasn't the success. And I still was thinking, I got to do something successful. So last Easter, I'm fast forwarding a bunch of years. We went from this to this, which ended up on the cover of a bunch of different magazines. I thought, what if I take an egg and I put a poop inside of it and I pop it up? Because what I noticed is that poop goes really well for Easter. I don't know why, but this poop pen, Easter is our best season for this.
What?
Yeah, this is like one of the #1 gifts for Easter.
Okay.
Why? I don't know what that has to do with Christ rising, but it's like, and I'm like, well, okay, so poop sells well for Easter. Easter eggs sell good for Easter.
Yeah.
What if I combine Easter eggs and poop? And I designed this thing where you pop it up and a poop comes out.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
And it farts. And people again were like, are you kidding me? Poop in an egg? Who's going to buy that?
Yeah.
This product went to number 40 in the toys and games this past February.
Wow. And
This is-
how did you ride this? Tell me about the search volume. Like what keywords are getting you there? Because with that product, that wasn't a Sean Hannity move. That was just search. You rode a wave on Amazon. So what keywords do you think performed well for you on that?
For this particular thing?
Yes.
I don't necessarily think it was keywords per se on this one.
Okay.
I think it was outside traffic. People started doing TikTok videos and playing,
Got it.
and it just drove traffic in because it shot up so fast. Like to go to number 40 in toys and games with a new product.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're beating Monopoly and Yahtzee. That's like crazy.
Right. And had we had it for Easter, I believe we would have been to number 1. So this became years later, 79.1, 2, 3, for 6 years after the Trump phenomenon, I was able to recreate the same type of ranking with this. And the best news is I got a patent on it, which means that anybody in your audience who's watching this, don't copy me.
Don't even think about it. What is your social strategy? How did you know who to send that to get that going on social?
You know, Ian, it's really interesting. We've had discussions with this in our team, and I think I will build the product so that somebody who finds it and they're an influencer will want to show it. I actually try to build my product with PR in mind, with influencers in mind.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do that, if I don't think in terms of the final product, which is I want publicity, it'll never get publicity. I can send it to 1 million people and ask them to play it, but it's better if they find it themselves. So a lot of times they're finding my products without me even really promoting it. I'll put it on Facebook and whatever, and I'll promote it. But the intention is I'm kind of throwing a flare in the air, hoping that somebody in the media or an influencer is going to see it and go, oh, that's funny. Let me put it on my show.
I see. It's kind of like it's no different than a funny viral stand-up clip that, oh my God, that's funny. Let me send it to my mom. And then 16 million views later. It's no different.
You got it. So I built this egg. I went, people are going to like laugh at this and they're going to want to show it to their fans. And I think that's what happened. I just had to get it out there.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
it's a very funny product.
We did this thing called Mr. Predicto. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Do you remember the Magic 8-Ball?
Of course.
Yeah. So again, an old invention that's never been updated. Why? 1953 or 1954, that product came out, and no one's done anything with it in 50 years.
Still sells millions a year, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm going, why not make it with sound? Why not have a product that lights up? So I created Mr. Predicto, and you wave your hand over it.
Without question.
And it gives like 30 or 40 random answers, yes, no, maybe.
But it was like that was a very thoughtful pause. Like it didn't answer right away. It had to think about the answer before it actually provided it.
Were you able to hear the music?
No,
I didn't hear the music.
Oh, okay. It was actually playing spooky music. Woo, and then it gives the answer.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting a call from the TV show Reacher, which on Amazon.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, the producer called me before it was even made and said, listen, we love your Predicto, and we want to use it in 2 of our episodes. I go, can you tell me what it's for? She goes, yeah, we'll send you the script, and we love your approval. So I read the script, and it's like Jack Reacher when he was a kid. Remember when he was a kid? And the bullies were bothering the developmentally disabled child. And
yes, I do remember that.
He defended him. Okay. So one of the bullies said, should Billy dance? And let's ask Mr. Predicto. And he takes my Mr. Predicto out, and he asks, and he goes, oh, Mr. Predicto says yes. And the day after, the school officials are coming in, and apparently Mr. Predicto has been used as a weapon by Reacher on the other kids, and it's all deformed and crushed on the guy's head. And those are my 2 scenes, and that exploded. This became huge from those 2 episodes. But I built it with promo in mind.
And what's really smart is, they said Mr. Predicto, so that's all they needed to search.
Exactly.
Which is great. Instead of what's that thing on Jack Reacher that the guy talks to? It's like, no one can figure it out.
Yeah, and they asked me, they go, can we say Mr. Predicto on TV? I went, yes, you can.
Wow, amazing. It's such a different approach, Jay, than our average Amazon seller. I mean, I think all of our successful sellers that we have interviewed have done a great job of finding the product niche and really figuring out what was needed and wanted from the consumer. So that is a common denominator. You are doing that as well. But what's different about you is you just kind of have a tendency to know what's funny. I think you got a good ear for it, a good eye for it.
Oh, thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like someone working for a movie producer, like a production company, knowing what script is the right one that's going to sell. You just kind of see it and you go, this is going to be funny. This is going to get sales. And even when other people completely shit on your dreams and tell you, you can't pay me to take this thing, you knew right out the gate that there was something there. And it's really amazing. That's
a good point. And I think a lot of it comes from being on the street for, 15, 20 years, whatever it was, from the late 70s into the 90s. I would try so many different products, and I put them down on the sidewalk and see the reaction. I have a blanket, and you have to sell fast when you're in the street because the police are there and they want to take you and lock you up. I mean, I was thrown in jail, more than once because you're selling without a license. So you have to sell something fast. I have to be able to gauge reaction fast. And I had a lot of bad products. And I think after a certain point, the cause and effect, it's not like you have to make it and then put it on Amazon. Now we have IntelliV, we can survey products, but a lot of times there's a time lag between idea and end result and survey. With me, I buy it, I put it in the street, I see the reaction right away. And I think when you do that hundreds of times, you start getting a feeling for what's going to sell, to the point where when I see a product or I have an idea, and I bomb out also, I won't execute properly or it won't sell. But a lot of times I get a feeling, it's almost a physical thing. I feel like fairies are dancing in my chest. It's like, ooh, and I go, oh, it's like, oh, I love it. And I go, this is going to sell. You just I get a feeling about it. So I do know it's funny, but if you ask my mother-in-law, she'll probably tell you that I don't know it's funny. So.
Well, so Jay, to that point, like when you're doing your product development and coming up with new ideas to grow your catalog, I mean, you got your instinct, which is the right, I mean, that, to me, that's like the place you start, right? Like, are you passionate about it? Does it seem like a good idea? You know, you kind of think through a lot of the mechanics or whatever intuition means. But then what else are you doing? Are you doing things like you mentioned in television? Are like, what is your sort of like vet, like how do you vet products? At least today, I'm sure you're not, maybe you are. I wouldn't be surprised to hear this. Maybe you are out on the street actually selling them, hustling away from the cops, you know, but you know, I'm just assuming you're at 10 million now, you know, what are you doing today to vet those products?
Well, right now, I mean, since I've been on Amazon, it's so easy to look at bestseller lists, you know, in the toy category, to look at things that are doing well, look at the reviews, really study it. And now you can do it with AI. But when I see what's popular, I start getting ideas. I go into fields that are already popular, and I start thinking, what else can I put in here? And I test a bunch of different things out. And I'll come out. I don't know. Have you guys read Traction?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, book.
He talks about, like, if you're a visionary, the visionary will have like 10 new ideas a day. Maybe 1 or 2 will be okay. And the team has to get used to them. So I'm constantly throwing ideas out at my team. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And they will like rein me in, because otherwise I'll just be making everything. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'll find something, I'll feel that's good. I'll come out with a concept and I'll give it to the team, and they will go, that sounds great, Jay, but what if we did this? And then somebody else go, well, what if we did this? And now it's almost like a group effort. We're creating stuff together based on, now, because we know it sells. So we almost function as a group in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
That also worries me, because you're kind of the creative genius. Like, you know, has that hindered your creativity in any way by turning it into a group kind of think, or no?
Not really. Like with this egg pop.
Yeah.
I said, we know this is the hottest thing for Easter. It's a pen. I go, but we also know that eggs and cute eggs, Easter eggs, are popular too. We should be doing something with eggs. I said, guys, I don't have the product yet, but I want to do something with a poop emoji, an egg, and farting. Something with eggs and farting and poop emoji. I go, what do we got? And my son-in-law actually said to me, he said, wait a minute. What if we take the egg and we push it down and it pops up, because my daughter has a toy that does something similar? And I said, okay. And we did it, and we created the egg. So sometimes I can come up with a whole finished concept myself. Like for this poop emoji, I said, well, we should do one with sunglasses, right? So this is coming out. We should do one for Christmas. This has got the Santa hat on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Halloween.
We should do nervous smile. We should do 4th of July. You know, we should do one with hard eyes. Like, I thought of all this stuff in, 30 minutes. I was like designing it and calling my designers. So those were all mine. But a lot of times I'll go, hey guys, I'm not there yet. Help me out here. What do you think? So it doesn't really stifle my creativity, and they know how far they can tread, and because they want me to be creative. They don't want to stifle my creativity by going, that sucks. It's so easy to get into that crushing mode of like, that's not going to work. You have to take yourself out of it, and they've learned how to do that. It's
way too easy, Jay. Yeah. No, you sound like a musician with a good producing team, really putting the track together and making it even a better song than what you came up with yourself, which is really great.
Feeling that you're like a musician. Do you play an instrument?
I play drums. Yeah.
No kidding. How long have you been doing that?
25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ever played any? Were you with a band at one point, or like a?
Yeah, I was. But drums is perfect for me, because drums is an outlet. Obviously guitar is an outlet for a guitar player, but for me, drums is a real outlet. I mean, you can bang stuff as hard as you want. and you can make it sound kind of cool. So it's really fit my personality, that aggressive, hyper personality that I have.
I haven't seen that part of you yet, so I don't know if you're aggressive or hyper, but I can.
I'm not anymore because I feel like I've subdued it a lot. But I was when I started playing drums. I was very hyper, very aggressive. Not aggressive, mean, just aggressive, like enthusiastic, in your face.
Yeah.
That kind of like a golden retriever aggressive. So I have calmed down a bit over the last 25 years.
Awesome. Hey, Drew, what dog would you be? He's a golden. What dog
Yeah, I love this. Yeah.
Poodle?
That's a really good analogy.
I don't know what Drew would be. What would you be, Drew? What's your dog personality?
I don't know. I mean, we got a cattle dog, and it's super smart. So I like that dog.
Oh,
There you go.
Is it a healer?
I don't know. What's a healer? I don't know.
Blue healer?
Blue healer.
They're the cattle dogs.
I have to look it up.
Sometimes they have spots. Does he have spots?
No,
on his stomach. Okay.
he does not.
Is he wild?
I don't know. I really don't know. The dog, it's a she, and her name's Reese, and she's whip smart, and she's super fun. She's very sensitive. All these things are me.
I have, by the way, I got to send you this, Ian. See this card we made?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can hear this. You strum down.
Hold on. I have a phone call coming in. There we go. Sorry. So what is that? Happy birthday.
It's playing Smoke on the Water. So as you strum it, you're actually playing Smoke on the Water in guitar. So
Oh my God.
interactive card, yeah. And I got one for you, Drew. You're gonna love it. I'm sorry, Ian.
He's got one for both dog types.
I got actually another one for Ian. Look at this as a happy birthday card, but you actually can play the drums on here.
No way.
Happy birthday. So it's, yeah. So each one of these you play and you can get a different note for happy birthday.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Right.
You're just constantly coming up with stuff. I can see like you're just. Do you wake up in the middle of the night and write stuff down?
I do. Yes, I do.
I totally spotted that. I was like,
Yeah,
this guy's.
I can't, but I normally will like record it on my cell phone and I can't go back to sleep because I'm going to forget this by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, totally. That's funny.
Such a good idea. So what about bombs? Everyone's had bombs. Out of every complete runaway product you've had, let's share the audience any bombs, just because people go through those and they demoralize them.
I've had some big bombs, and you're right. It's really good to say the bombs because it shows that I don't want to talk only about my successes. So I did Mr. Predicto, which you see.
Yep.
I also did President Predicto. So when you wave your hand over and ask a question, Donald Trump's voice will give you an answer. Like he'll go, "Forget about it. That's terrible," or whatever.
Yeah.
But the first one I did, the first Predicto I did, it wasn't Mr. Predicto. It wasn't President Predicto. It was Crypto Predicto.
Oh my God, it's catchy.
It was catchy, but I didn't sell any. It bombed. And it was so disappointing because I spent so much time recording every name of every crypto, having the right voice to say it. And then Facebook wouldn't let me do any crypto advertisements, and Amazon wouldn't let me sell it. And I lost everything on that. It was horrible. Horrible. So that was a big bomb. The first version of this pen, I don't tell this story a lot, but the first version of this pen was actually...
He's holding up the Donald Trump pen for those audio listeners.
Yeah, the first version of that pen, I don't have it on me, but it was actually, it didn't have a head on there. It was actually just a regular pen with, and all it said was, "You're fired. You're fired." And I wrote Donald Trump talking pen. And that pen was seized by customs. About $30,000 worth of that pen was seized by customs because I used the name Trump on the pen.
And that's when you were the brokest too. So that was probably like a huge.
It was horrible. Oh my God! I couldn't even think about it because if I thought about it, I'd be like, "Jay, you're insane." And that was like, I realized that Donald Trump, he had trademarked his own name and he couldn't use it on the pen. I just said, well, if you're a political candidate, I can use your likeness and your name. No, I can't use the name on here. But at that point, I really wanted to quit, but I made a different version with a head. And then I put his other, because what I learned from that pen was people were going, why are you saying you're fired? That's from 2004 when he had The Apprentice. Why don't you use some of his new lines? So it wasn't instinctive, like to put his lines on there. People said, why would you even make that? I go, yeah, you're right. And I thought, what if I put his head on here and then have his current audio? So if I hadn't had that failure, if they hadn't seized all those pens, I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have gotten the information to put his other audio on here. I wouldn't have known that. But because I got feedback on that pen, I was able to do that.
Wow. And blessing in disguise.
It was a total blessing. That's what I'm saying. Like failure, there's lessons, there's data to extract from every failure. And that data gave me the knowledge to make this pen. And then with this pen and that pen, the two pens combined and being shut down by Trump, the Washington Post did a major story on me because, they were spinning it against Trump, but I was going to take whatever publicity I could get at that point.
Sure.
And yeah, so it's just like everything can be used. The energy from a failure can be used to make a success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was a failure. The first pen there, the predictor was a failure. I made a fidget pen.
Oh God.
But I was way too late. I was like,
okay.
It's way too late. I lost all my money on that. I made a talking toilet roll holder. When you pull the toilet paper, it talks and it farts and all kinds of. That was a bomb. So I have so many failures in my arsenal.
That is a really funny one, though.
Yeah, that is funny.
That
it
one
starts
doesn't
while
feel like it should be a failure, Jay. That one feels like they should be a winner.
Which
I
one?
think we need to bring that one back, Drew.
The farting toilet roll holder?
Yeah, totally.
As you're saying it, I'm thinking they're right. I probably should bring it back.
Well, I think it's also finding the right audience. That's going to like a thing about a lot of your products is that the right audience, you either mailed a box or they just kind of found it on their own, but the right audience with the poop emoji for the golden retriever. Once you find that right audience and you just ride that wave, it's game over for you. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to keep riding waves, man. Keep riding those waves.
Yeah, it's just incredible, Jay. And before we close out, how did you finance all this? Obviously your first success financed the next one, and then that one maybe financed the next one. Is there any financial tips you can give for anybody that's looking into e-commerce and creating their own brand? Do you have any tips on whether to get investors, not get investors, use your own money, use credit, use debt, etc.?
Yeah, I tell you, one of the I do a lot of I get a lot of help from different people, and I don't know if you know Brian Kelsey.
Yeah, I know Brian.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, and he comes from a corporate background, and he's really kind of drilled into me, Jay, your goal is not just to focus on top line, not to focus just on bottom line. You want to focus on creating a profitable business that's constantly profitably expanding. So that was a big lesson for me, learning how to make things that were profitable, setting up charts where I could figure out what my ROI was in advance and having a threshold where I don't go below it. If I can't make it at this price and my factory can't meet it at that price, I don't do the product.
Mm-hmm.
That's way more important than my ego of like, oh, I want to see this product out there. No, I want to make people smile and laugh. But if I can't support myself, if I can't make enough profit to expand the company, pay the fixed expenses, pay the variable expense, I'm going to go broke. And I don't want to do that. I did that once. That happened to me. So there is a point in every business. And there's a great book. I think you probably read it. What's the guy? The sneaker guy, the Nike guy. It's a book about like it's a guy who started Nike. It's about his growth. And one of the best books I've ever read. It was amazing. So his autobiography. And he said that at every business at some point has to borrow money to expand. There's just no way around it. You have to borrow it. So I did borrow money when I needed to expand, but I literally took every penny I made and put it back into the business so that I could not borrow as soon as possible. So I'm at the point now where I don't have to borrow, but it's just over the last year. I mean, for years I was borrowing from Amazon. They give you these percentage loans, and then I was paying it back. And some friends of mine said, "Hey, we'll loan you money at a low interest rate," and I took that and paid it back. But yeah, your margin has to be really good to start with. Everything, all your expenses should be known up front, and then if you have to borrow to expand, then I think it can be a smart move for a while.
So, okay, before we close out, numbers. What's your preferred cost of goods to your suggested retail? Do you usually try to go for 4x or 5x?
I try to get close to 5x. Yeah, I will never go below 4x.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's your tacos goals for every product that you launch?
Tacos, we try to be for our Trump brand and our poop brand, we're not allowed to do any PPC. So,
okay.
Yeah, so we have a tacos of around 5%, sometimes 4%, which is really good.
It's incredible. But yeah, you're obviously spending money elsewhere to do some advertising, I'm sure. Like there's some, maybe not, maybe your products just advertise themselves.
Yeah, right now it's kind of on a roll. For the greeting card business that we have.
Well, what's the 5% then, Jay? Is it like promotions and coupons and not advertising, but
there are some products that we can do advertising on. Like for example, we can do it on Mr. Predicto. We can do it on I have a poop emoji card that I can do. More products. There's certain products that I can do. So it comes down to about 4%. It's never
just the account level. I gotcha.
Account level.
5%, not 5% for the poop. It's 5% for your brand.
Oh yes,
yeah,
overall the brand.
Understood. Okay.
And then for the other brand, we are trying to get it to 10%. We're higher than that. We're like probably 11 or 12%, but we're shooting for 10% tacos, and struggling to get there. But little by little, we're optimizing our listings. We're changing main images, changing titles, keyword research, IntelliV, doing all the things that I should be doing to get that down.
Wait, you're not getting your tacos down to 10 or 11% by having a better bid on PPC?
No way.
There's a wink there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning all about this. I've got people like showing me my squad and Brian Kelsey, and
it's 100% right. No, I mean, like what you're describing, Ian and I were literally just talking about this before the show, is that conversion rate's everything for success. And how you get keywords and how you've researched keywords and the way you play PPC matters tremendously. But if you don't convert when you get someone to your listing, good luck.
Exactly. They go to the click through, they go onto the main page, they look at it, they don't convert. And so we spent a lot of time fixing our main images so that they will convert, testing them, changing titles.
What's interesting, I looked at your listings before you got on, and it's interesting to see the strategy you guys do implement, because it's there, but it looks so organic.
Oh, thank you.
It looks like it's just kind of like you just kind of threw it up there, right? But you didn't.
No, there's a lot of testing involved, and we spent dozens of hours trying to optimize it. And I'm learning. One thing MDS has taught me is that I'm learning how to do all this stuff, because I'm mostly a creative guy, and now I'm being forced to look at numbers, and being forced to look at conversion rates, and being forced to look at tacos and ACOS and
performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've never done that before, so I'm learning, and I feel like, wow, this is a whole new world for me, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you so much for jumping on, Jay. This has been a lot of fun, and we're going to make sure as many people watch this as possible, because this is a very unusual story, but very exciting story.
Oh, thank you, and thank you, Drew. I enjoyed being on here. It was really fun. You guys are really cool.
Awesome.
Thanks,